Right. As you all know, I'm not here because of me. I'm here to represent my team. So I can only talk about what's happening from my organization's perspective. And as I introduced myself earlier, I'm from immigration enforcement. And when one hears about immigration enforcement, they roll their eyes and go, oh yeah, you're going around arresting people. And what people don't realize is we are much, much more than just arresting people. We have the Home Office in general and immigration enforcement as well as a very strong vulnerability and safeguarding policy, which every single person must adhere to because we are first responders. Yeah, so I will quickly go through the vulnerability mission statement. Our mission is to identify and safeguard all those who are exploited or vulnerable in the United Kingdom and who have contacts with immigration enforcement. This is very important. We may come to an address to try and apprehend somebody, but if we come into contact with a victim, everything changes because we have a person-centered approach where we treat victims as victims, not as immigration offenders of any kind. We safeguard the person first. We don't even look at their status. We have to ensure they are safe first before anything else. We will also reduce the number of victims of modern slavery and human trafficking in the UK by safeguarding the vulnerable, disrupting abuse and ending exploitation. We are committed to delivering this through active prevention of abuse, enhancing training programs for IE colleagues, IE means immigration enforcement, partners and stakeholders, expanding our knowledge by enhancing data to inform the intelligence picture, increasing volumes of interventions, and taking prosecution action against perpetrators in the UK. You wanted action, yeah? So, how do we do this? We do have a strategy of 4 missions which underpins everything, and it's the stop, manage, remove, protect. Stop, manage, remove, protect. The stop, at the stop we aim to ensure compliance and disrupt organized crime groups, because once we do that, then the source of modern slavery is very much disrupted. So that is our stop. The manage is to maintain contacts with them and progress their cases to conclusion. These are the victims we come across. We manage them. And at this point, I have to clarify something. There are a lot of people who get a little bit upset when their case does not give them immigration advantage in the UK. It doesn't always end like that, I'm afraid. And that's something we need to accept. Having said that, I always say to people, we've safeguarded you and you are alive. And that's the most important thing. The immigration status thing may not happen for you, but you are alive and you are safeguarded. We sometimes, if the person is suitable, help them to return to their country where they can have support and help. Most of them want to go back anyway, and we have voluntary returns service where we give them some financial help to return, depending which country they are from. There are some countries like Ghana, Zimbabwe, Ethiopia, Nigeria, quite a few countries, India, where once you return, we do have a team on the ground that can meet you at the airport and actually help you reintegrate back into the community. And we have a lot of good news stories coming from there. I do have presentations where people have even left prison from the UK. And that's a slightly different system. It's not the same for the victims. The victims get more help. However, when they go back with some money, they may want to start a business, and some counseling, some emotional support. Sometimes when they return, they actually want to stay in a different city rather than their old city. So we make that possible on the ground. Not all countries, but most countries. And this is something that's been very, very popular amongst people who are returning to their countries of origin, the reintegration program. Also, with regards to remove is focusing on those who are the perpetrators. Of course we will prosecute them first, once they've served, and then we will remove them to their countries. Depending on your crime, you may be entitled to something called facilitated return scheme or early release scheme, where you can serve. There are so many different, but at the moment, all I would say is the remove will deal with perpetrators who are taking advantage of vulnerable people. And the protect explains itself. In fact, the protect cuts across everything we do in immigration enforcement. We aim to protect the UK and to safeguard vulnerable individuals in our care. This is very important, regardless of what the reason, the initial reason of coming into contact with immigration enforcement is. Protect underpins everything we do. At some point, when you start talking to somebody, and of course there are some indicators, you automatically start treating the person as a victim rather than as somebody who's an immigration offender until we establish their situation. I don't think we sell this enough. So every time you read the newspapers, there's always negativity about the Home Office. We have probably the hardest job in the UK, and we do great work. I was in Bristol at EU Summit of Black Europeans with 5 or 6 other EU countries, and there was not a single negative word from any of them. And I was like, whoa. I said that the EUS's vulnerability team are amazing. There was a queue of people wanting to speak to me about their experiences. So unless you actually encounter a vulnerable person and you speak to any of the different vulnerable teams in the Home Office, you would never know the great work we do. And of course, my job is to tell people about what we do, how we safeguard people. And this team has existed for 10 years. We do a lot of things around Windrush, if you know the Windrush scandal, but that's not all we do. One of our main jobs is to educate the communities. You did ask about action, what we are doing. My team is one of the, it's one of the actions. All we do is to go around communities, and like I said earlier, I'm the African lead, but we have Southeast Asia lead, we have European lead, we have other Caribbean leads. There are about 12 of us in the team, and our job is to go to the community. So you find me in community centres, you find me here, weekends, all of us. I've done markets. Yeah, I'm everywhere. And one thing we don't talk enough about is educating the youth.